What if I told you that hundreds of tiny explosions happen inside a Harley-Davidson engine every single minute? Sounds dangerous, right? But those controlled explosions are exactly what push a two-wheeled machine and its rider down the road. Have you ever wondered why a Harley has that deep, rumbling sound, unlike almost any other motorcycle? Or what actually happens when you twist the throttle? Today, we're decoding one of the most iconic machines ever built. We're going inside the engine, following every drop of fuel and uncovering the hidden secrets that turn gasoline into pure motion. And by the end of this video, you'll also understand exactly how to ride a gasoline motorcycle from start to finish. Let's decode the process.
Why this machine is so special. For more than a century, Harley-Davidson motorcycles have become symbols of freedom, adventure, and engineering. But beneath the chrome, paint, and massive V-Twin engine lies a surprisingly simple machine. Every ride depends on three things: fuel, air, and spark. That's it. The incredible part is how these three ingredients work together thousands of times every minute to create power. So before we start the engine, let's first understand its anatomy.
What's inside a Harley-Davidson engine? At first glance, a Harley engine looks like a giant block of metal. But inside, dozens of moving parts work together with incredible precision. The most recognizable feature is the V-Twin design. The engine contains two cylinders arranged in a V shape. Inside each cylinder is a piston. Think of a piston like the plunger of a bicycle pump. It moves up and down repeatedly. Connected to the pistons is the crankshaft. The crankshaft converts the piston's up and down motion into rotational motion. This rotational force eventually turns the motorcycle's rear wheel. Above the cylinders are valves. These valves act like automatic doors. They open to let air and fuel enter, they close to seal the chamber, and they open again to let exhaust gases escape. Then comes the spark plug. This tiny component creates a powerful electric spark. Without it, the engine would never start. Fuel arrives through a fuel injection system. Modern Harley motorcycles use electronic fuel injection that carefully measures the perfect amount of gasoline needed for combustion. Finally, power travels through the transmission, clutch, chain, or belt drive before reaching the rear wheel. Now, let's see how all these parts work together.
The engine breathes. Before an engine can create power, it must inhale. Just like humans need oxygen, engines need air. When the piston moves downward inside the cylinder, it creates low pressure. This acts like a giant vacuum. Fresh air rushes through the air filter and into the engine. At the same time, the fuel injectors spray a fine mist of gasoline into that incoming air. The result is a carefully balanced air-fuel mixture. Why is the balance important? Too much fuel creates waste. Too little fuel reduces power. Engineers spend years perfecting this ratio. Think of it like baking a cake. Too much flour or too much water ruins the recipe. The engine needs the perfect mixture every time.
The mixture gets compressed. Now the intake valve closes. The piston begins moving upward. As it rises, it squeezes the air-fuel mixture into a much smaller space. This is called compression. Have you ever used a bicycle pump? The harder you compress air, the hotter it becomes. The same thing happens inside the cylinder. Pressure increases, temperature rises, energy becomes concentrated. This compressed mixture is now waiting for a trigger, and that's where the spark plug comes in.
The controlled explosion happens. At exactly the right moment, the spark plug fires. A tiny electric spark jumps across a small gap. Instantly, the compressed fuel-air mixture ignites. Boom! A controlled explosion occurs. Temperatures inside the combustion chamber can exceed 2,000 degrees Celsius. The expanding gases push the piston downward with tremendous force. This is called the power stroke. It's the only stage that actually produces power. Everything else simply prepares for this moment. Imagine slamming a hammer onto a nail. That sudden impact is similar to the force generated during combustion, except inside a Harley engine, it happens repeatedly and incredibly fast. This is the hidden secret behind every motorcycle ride: tiny explosions creating controlled motion.
Turning explosions into movement. The piston is now moving downward. But motorcycles don't move up and down. They move forward. So how is that force converted? The connecting rod transfers energy from the piston to the crankshaft. The crankshaft begins rotating. This rotation becomes the engine's usable power. Think of a pedal-powered bicycle. Your legs move up and down, but the pedals rotate in circles. The crankshaft performs a similar conversion. Rotational energy then flows into the transmission. The transmission acts like a set of gears on a mountain bike. Low gears provide strong acceleration. Higher gears provide greater speed. The rider selects gears depending on road conditions and speed requirements.
The exhaust and repeat cycle. After combustion, the fuel has been consumed. What remains are hot exhaust gases. The exhaust valve opens. The piston moves upward once again. The gases are pushed out through the exhaust system. This clears the cylinder. The engine is now ready for another cycle. Air enters, fuel enters, compression occurs, spark ignites, power is created, exhaust exits. Then it repeats, again and again and again. At highway speeds, this process happens thousands of times every minute. That's why engines generate such incredible power.
How to ride a gasoline motorcycle. Now that we understand how the engine works, how do you actually ride one? First, start the engine. Turn the ignition on. Ensure the motorcycle is in neutral. Pull in the clutch lever. Press the starter button. The engine comes alive. Next, squeeze the clutch and shift into first gear. The clutch temporarily disconnects the engine from the transmission. Think of it like an electrical switch that connects and disconnects power. Slowly release the clutch while gently twisting the throttle. The motorcycle begins moving. As speed increases, shift into higher gears. Pull the clutch, shift, release the clutch smoothly. Continue accelerating. To slow down, reduce throttle input and apply both brakes progressively. Always look ahead and maintain balance through steering and body positioning. The motorcycle responds to every input from the rider. Throttle controls power, brakes control speed, steering controls direction. Mastering these controls takes practice, but the basic principle remains surprisingly simple.
What happens when things go wrong? Now for the interesting part. What happens when the process isn't perfect? Let's compare. Correct fuel versus wrong fuel. The engine is designed for specific fuel characteristics. Using poor quality fuel can cause knocking. Knocking occurs when fuel ignites at the wrong time. Instead of smooth power delivery, tiny shock waves hit engine components. Over time, serious damage can occur. Correct airflow versus blocked air filter. A dirty air filter restricts airflow. Less air means incomplete combustion. Power decreases. Fuel consumption increases. The engine struggles to breathe. It's like trying to run while breathing through a straw. Correct temperature versus overheating. Engines generate enormous heat. Without proper cooling and lubrication, temperatures can rise dangerously. Metal components expand. Oil breaks down. Wear increases dramatically. Proper oil versus low oil. Engine oil acts like liquid armor. It reduces friction between moving parts. Without enough oil, metal begins rubbing directly against metal. The result can be catastrophic engine failure.
3 mind-blowing facts. Fact number 1. A Harley engine can complete hundreds of combustion cycles every second while maintaining incredibly precise timing. The spark must occur within fractions of a second for maximum efficiency. Fact number 2. The famous Harley-Davidson Rumble is partly created by its unique V-Twin engine configuration and firing sequence. That distinctive sound is actually a byproduct of engineering design.
Fact number 3. The average gasoline engine converts only a portion of fuel energy into motion. Most energy is lost as heat. Engineers continuously search for hidden ways to improve efficiency and recover that wasted energy.
So, what have we learned? A Harley-Davidson engine works by mixing air and fuel, compressing the mixture, igniting it with a spark, converting the resulting explosion into rotational motion, and repeating the cycle thousands of times every minute. What seems like a simple twist of the throttle is actually an incredible chain of mechanical events happening inside the engine. From pistons and crankshafts to fuel injectors and spark plugs, every component plays a critical role. And now you know not only how the engine works, but also how a gasoline motorcycle transforms fuel into forward motion. The next time you hear that iconic Harley rumble, you'll know exactly what's happening inside. Which process should we decode next? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible engineering secrets hidden inside the machines we use every day.